Okay, hello and good morning everyone. Welcome to JFD Brokers Traders Espresso with me, Chauskas. Today is the 9th of October 2018. So welcome everyone. Welcome to this Tuesday's morning session where we're gonna have a look at a few instruments that played out quite nicely yesterday. So of course we'll look at those, look at the charts, but before we do that, as always, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. So the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, a few seconds for you to read the rest and we can continue. Okay, so now then, let's not waste any more of our time and let's jump into the charts now. Now, the first one I want to touch on is the Footsie 100. Now, I do understand that I was covering this one for quite a few times now lately, but still, nevertheless, this kind of doesn't stop to amaze me. Right, so now we're getting closer to the moment of truth here. Are we actually going to break this upside support line, this long-term upside support line running from the around the 11th of February 2016, or actually are we gonna bounce off of it and then push higher again? So for now, certainly judging by this strong selling activity, as you can see, we did have like very strong three red, in my case black candles here to the downside, and certainly, like I said, at the moment we're getting closer to this key important zone here, the 7220 zone, approximately there. So keep your eyes on that one, because a nice break and a close below this could potentially open the path towards these lower levels, initially aiming for the 7145 and then of course likely lower, the 7110. Let me just kind of quickly adjust this a little bit. There we go, and we could aim for this little area here. Now, of course, from the very long-term perspective, I mean, we could we would need to see probably a nice good close below these levels in order to kind of confirm that this index is ready to move lower, or at least move lower towards the this potential area of support here near the 6870 zone, approximately there, of course. So something to keep an eye on, but again, for now, be very cautious, because like I said, yes, we are we are now in the seller's market on the equities, of course, but don't forget about another possibility here, where, as you can see by this arrow, if we're gonna get a nice rebound here, this could potentially form us a nice double bottom here. So from which the index could travel higher. Certainly the double bottom could be confirmed only if we get a nice break and a close here above this level right here around the 7550, but to be honest, that's quite a lot to travel for the Footsie, and we could basically in a way miss out on some good trades here. So for now, that's what I'm going to probably stick to for now. I'm just going to say, keep your eyes on this area here, the this potential support zone near the 7220. It was marked here by the lows of the last drop that we saw around the 10th of September or 11th of September, something like that, and basically the lowest point of September. So keep your eyes on that one. If we get a rejection here, that's wonderful. We could maybe start looking at least a bit of retracement back to the upside, but if this is going to break, and this is if in the end of the day the Footsie is going to close below this, below the 7220, or if you want to be even more on a more safe side, you could actually consider this little level here, this little potential area of support around the 7190, and this potentially a nice good close below this could in a way confirm a better kind of better chances of seeing a further decline here towards these lower levels that I was just talking about. So for now, be very cautious, and yep, it is kind of playing out interestingly here. Looking at the DAX. Also in the kind of in a selling mode right now, but it's currently getting close to its key area of support that was seen well, the lowest point of September, and that was approximately around the 11,860 zone, so or should I say 65 zone, approximately there. So keep your eyes on that one, guys. A nice good break and a close below that could potentially confirm further declines, at least slightly to the lower side here, at least towards these lows that we saw around March time, and we could eventually test those, but initially, of course, we need to see a good break and a close below the September lows, which I've just mentioned, the 11,865 zone. Probably just need to get rid of a few lines here and no longer relevant, so this is what we were looking at. Of course, keep your eyes on this one, guys. This is, like I said, in the moment aiming south. The first potential area to keep an eye on is, like I said, the 11,865 area, approximately there. So it's about not a full 100 points away from where it is right now, where it closed yesterday. On the upside, well, I mean, it's a bit difficult to talk about the upside right now, but nevertheless, for us to get comfortable, well, let's say more comfortable with the potential maybe correction here to the upside, would be if we get a nice good break and a close above this level right here, above the 12,100 zone. Now, certainly, of course, like I said, keep your eyes on at the moment, keep your eyes on the downside, but if this suddenly reverses back to the upside, keep your eyes on this 12,100. And of course, I mean, not to mention the psychological 12,000 level itself. I mean, that's always quite a good one to watch, but still, for a better confirmation to the upside, keep your eyes on this 12,100. Let's jump into silver. Silver, basically looking at this daily chart here, let me just actually get rid of this line. It's skewed a little bit here. It was more of a this line right here that we were keeping in close eye on. So we had this downside resistance line running here from around the peak of the 25th of June. So as you can see, last week we've managed to break it to the upside here, and, well, actually we managed to break it in the last days of September, but then last week it was trading above this, and now as you can see, yesterday we saw a bit of selling here in silver, and of course in gold as well. So let me just kind of shift this arrow here a little bit, and as you can see, it tested the downside resistance line nicely here, from which it kind of rebounded in the, as you can see right now, this daily candle is kind of trying to kind of push back up here. Certainly it's too early to say if it's going to be if this downside resistance line is going to continue to be as a nice bouncing ground for silver. I mean, for now we're just going to keep on monitoring this one. If, let's say, this suddenly drops below the 14.20 zone, approximately there, let me just kind of quickly adjust this. There we go. If it drops below that level, guys, now this could turn out to be again quite ugly for silver, because it could open the path towards this next potential area of support around the 13.9985. Of course, if you want, you can drag it a little bit lower just to be more on the safe side. So this one right here, so let's put it here, this 13.95 level, so could become a quite important zone to watch if we get a nice break and a close here below this 14.20 zone, and like I said, this could lead to this little decline here towards the test of the September lows. But that's, of course, what's in regards to the break here. If we see, of course, if of course we see this break here and close below the not only the downside resistance line, but also below this 14.20. If this rebounds, well, to be honest, for us to get comfortable again with the upside, we would need to we're going to wait until it gets back above the yesterday's highs. So, and that's approximately around, let me just kind of put it 4-hour chart on this one, guys, and let me just quickly mark that for future reference. So or actually, in a way, to be honest, let me reiterate that a little bit. We could potentially start aiming for looking at higher levels slightly above the 14.5 zone. This is where it could potentially interest more bulls, but again, if you're looking from a very short-term perspective, certainly keep your eyes on this little thing here, this little downside resistance line. So basically, in a way, you could, for those who are more conservative, you could wait in a way for, until we get a nice break here above the 1450, then eventually a nice break and a close above the short-term downside resistance line, and then if we get a confirmed close on the day above this area right here around the 14.665 zone, approximately, something like that, then yep, we could potentially aim for higher levels again, and or maybe even eventually towards the 15 zone. For now, I would probably recommend to stay cautious here and just stay put and see what it exactly wants to do with this downside resistance line that it actually broke. It broke to the upside, or maybe maybe now it's going to try to get back below it, but then that's why I'm saying that we're just going to stay put here and see what it wants to do. If it gets below the 14.20, this is where it could interest more bears and we could see further declines here. But if this reverses back to the upside, hits the 1450, breaks the downside resistance line, and closes above this, the 14.665, then we're probably going to get more comfortable with the upside. I understand that there's quite a lot of pips here and points to kind of travel here to the upside, but nevertheless, it's better to be safe than sorry. Jumping into euro dollar. So euro dollar yesterday, bit of a mixed trading. So we saw okay, let me just jump into the daily chart quickly just to show you. I do apologize for the amount of lines here, but nevertheless, so we're stuck here and a little bit stuck here between these two zones. On the upside here, the 115.25, and on the downside, the 115.60, or slightly above that, the 65. So we're stuck in this little area here. So for now, we're just going to keep on monitoring this one and just wait and see what it wants to do. Does it want to actually break and close below this 14.65, or does it actually want to go higher here and break the 115.25? Now, of course, keep your eyes, be very careful right now. Again, it's probably like with silver, be very careful and probably stay put and wait until it actually makes a better move, because at the moment this would be just almost like flipping a coin. And of course you can say that, yeah, the momentum is still to the downside, and yeah, of course it could continue traveling there, but we need to see that good break and close here below this 1.1465 in order to kind of consider levels like the 1.1445. And if that doesn't hold, well, yep, it could open the path towards this 113.95, which was marked here by the lows of the 20th of August. On the upside, well, a nice good break and a close above the 115.25 certainly would interest more bulls on this one. But for even better confirmation here, a nice good break and a close above the 115.50 could potentially be that point from which the bulls could take control and drive this one a bit higher. Jumping into USDJPY here now. Yesterday, finally for the bears, it broke this upside support line taken from the lows of the 6th of September. Certainly at the moment it's kind of looking more bearish than bullish, even though, yeah, we had this nice reversal here, a little bit of correction here to the upside, but to be honest, we're gonna wait here now, and we're just gonna keep a close eye on the yesterday's lows near the 112.80 mark. Let me just quickly adjust this one. So we're going to keep an eye on that level. A nice good break here and a close below this could open the path towards the next potential area of support around the 112 112.50. And as you can see, also this is where we have the 200 EMA running here. So basically, in a way, if we're going to see a nice drop here below the 112.80, we could eventually test the 112.50. And this is where the bulls and the bears could start battling it out and trying to understand, like, trying to figure out who's going to take control from here. And if the bulls kind of lose this battle, then yep, it's going to be a good feast for the bears, who in their kind of case could potentially even drive the pair here towards the 111.65. On the upside, well, to be honest, we're going to take a more conservative stand here, and in a way, we're gonna wait until, let's say, for kind of more to examine it from the near term perspective, to examine the upside from the near term perspective. We're probably gonna wait until we get back above the 114 level, so only then we'll probably start considering maybe higher levels. But because at this point it still travel higher here, get rejected from either from here, from this 113.50, or maybe even from the from this upside support line, and then yeah, move back down again. So that's why with the upside here it becomes a little bit more tricky. Let me move a few lines. So basically, in a way, we could see something like this happening. So bear in mind, yep, the potential here of seeing maybe a bit of a more correction here to the upside and then dropping back down again. So something like this could be possible, of course, and that's what I'm saying. So these are the levels that I was just talking about. We're only gonna consider the upside only from the 114 level, and the downside if we get a nice break here, close below the 112.80, and this way we could aim for the 112.50 initially. Probably don't need to wait for a close. A nice good break here initially could potentially lead the way towards the this area that I was just talking about. Okay, guys, thank you very much for watching and listening. I hope you found it useful. I do apologize for running a bit over my time. So if you want to join me later on, I'm at Traders Tea Time, and that's 13:15 GMT, 14:15 British Summer Time. For now, thank you very much, and bye-bye.